You are listening to the Savage FINcast, episode 52, Lo, and There Shall Come an Ending.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that just carried half his home up and down the stairs. I am Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
I'm Raven Perez.
Welcome back, Craig.
Thanks. It's been a while.
It has been quite a while. I feel like it's been before the summer.
It has. I bought a new house and have been doing a lot of work. I actually bit off more than I could chew, and it's it's been quite an adventure. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm good and I'm back.
Is it your first house or are you just changing houses?
No, I'm renting out the house I bought first. Like I've had for about 12 years now, and I bought a fixer-upper, and I've gutted it and just done a ton of work on it. So
you're working on it, or have you moved in?
It's a work in progress. I've moved in, but
yeah,
I'm working as I go now.
Yeah.
It's livable now. At one point, it wasn't, and that's why I couldn't really participate much because my house was a mess.
I basically grew up in a house that was always perpetually being renovated until they moved immediately after they finished. So yeah, that's always fun.
It's really extensive, heavy-duty work. Like, it's funny because we were kind of like just shooting a breeze before the FINcast, and I was just like, I told Craig, I was like, I thought, I knew you were moving. I just thought it was just like a move. But like it was, his life has been extreme home makeover.
Yeah, I guess I should have been more clear to you guys. As I was telling Raven, I took out like 2 tons of lath and plaster. No joke, really 2 tons, like literally 2 tons of lath and plaster to the dump. Just ripping down walls. It's an 1870s.
That is 18
row home.
So yeah, it was probably all plaster and wood,
lath and plaster.
And
yeah,
that stuff is a nightmare.
There was old knob and tube electric. I mean, that's gone now. It wasn't working, but it was in the wall. There was lead water pipes in the wall. It was
lead water pipes.
Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy stuff.
What could ever go wrong?
No.
So we are back again. Of course, we are here to talk about the Savage Dragon. This one, a little thin after our deluge of content last episode where we went through, I believe, 5 comic books.
The spawn-a-thon.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you guys, I was like listening to the FINcast on my commutes, and I was like yelling at you guys, like if you just like were like, oh, I can't think of that name or whatever, or if you like mess on up, you'd be like, no, that's not right. I was like, I want to participate so bad.
Yeah. I think that I've only not been on one episode, so
you're like the founding father.
I don't get to experience that very much.
It is frustrating.
It is.
It's a show.
You're listening to it and you forget you're not participating in it.
Yeah.
Like, for a minute there, I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't happening right now.
Or you'd be like, oh, I knew that. I wish it was.
I know. You. But then, like, you guys would come up with something like 5 minutes later. I'm like, yes, they hit the point I wanted to make.
So real quick, Craig, as long as you're, we got you. What was your hot take on the crossover and the conclusion to Spawn?
I kind of agreed with you guys. It actually, Raven kind of pointed it out. Like, at first, we were like, the Satan Saga thing, we were kind of down on it because it seemed like it was too decompressed, I guess is a word for it. Like there's too many issues, but when I was like so hopeful for that transition to like a new Spawn, that first issue that I forget what 263, where it's that iconic cover that Erik drew of just Spawn on the front cover, like powerless or whatever it is.
I'm human now.
Yeah, and I was like, I just remember being so excited to figure out what this new direction was going to be about. And I don't know. I kind of felt a little let down, and I don't think it's Erik's fault. I think he got constrained by Todd and really wasn't able to let loose.
Blame the editor.
Well, I mean, from everything I've been reading, and obviously it's kind of one-sided,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It just
we want you on our show to tell us your side, Todd McFarlane.
yeah, right. I mean, it's just something like that needs some buildup and needs some time, and I think it was kind of rushed through, and I don't know. I just wasn't totally happy with the way it kind of ended up.
Yeah. I didn't buy the latest issue of Spawn, but I did look at the preview. Art looks pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it today, actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, the art was good, but I don't know. The story, like, do you know what was that his child with Wanda or not?
No, it was
Cian.
Oh, you know what? I didn't think. Wait, there was no child. It was like a trick, right? It was
well, I don't know, but there is a child. Terry Fitzgerald has a child. And
it was Terry's soul. Are you talking about the child that Wanda had in Hell?
No, the one on Earth.
Oh,
I'm pretty
She
sure
had a
that's
little girl.
Terry's kid.
Oh, is that just something that's in the latest issue?
Yeah, and she's on drugs after her mom died or something, and then Spawn goes after the drug dealers. I mean, the art is pretty good, but there's no like supernatural element in this. It's just him going after drug dealers.
It's funny too that you should say that, because I guess that was another problem I had with Spawn, is that it really seemed to like that street level stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like you just had this guy that's so supernatural that element of it always seems so weird to me.
I don't know, because Superman still punches bank robbers occasionally. I mean, you kind of can still do that sort of thing.
I guess, but I don't know. It's like on the side. It's like he'll punch a bunch of robbers, but like the main villain will be behind it or something.
Metallo. Yeah. The main guy's Metallo, not a drug dealer.
Right. Or your drug dealer should be peddling some supernatural shit or something, and then you find the guy behind him. And
I was just really excited for like the whole concept of, hell's closed off, but there's like these demons trapped on Earth, and they're all kind of causing trouble, and he's gonna go after them like a demon hunter, like one by one or whatever.
I still think that's a great setup.
Sure is.
You know what I really do like about the new issue? That they kept that look that that Larsen gave Al Simmons with the kind of receding hairline, devil horn.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of a cool little thing for Erik to add to the Spawn mythos, I guess. It's just a neat little shorthand kind of comic trick.
Al hasn't had hair in a long time, so...
Yeah.
Right? Because as Spawn, was all scarred up or something.
I don't know how that worked, yeah.
I apologize. Sure. I know I was supposed to read Spawn Kills Everybody. I simply haven't.
Yeah.
So
I haven't bothered with it either.
Why were you supposed to read that?
Just because we had thought that maybe Savage Dragon
would be in it,
or other Image characters of interest would be in there. And so I was going to read it just to give folks, because we were on such a Spawn jag, but I feel like we're kind of off of it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably will still read it eventually, and if Dragon's in there, I'll run back to you with oh guys, you got to read it. But whatever. It's down. It's on the back burner.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm kind of interested in seeing how Todd takes Spawn. I might buy a couple more issues just to see if he kind of reverts back to his old ways, or if he's actually going to take it in a new direction. But I don't think I'm going to hold on to it.
Sounds like he's gone too street level.
Yeah. We'll see. So anyway, that was my take on it. I don't know.
Is his cape brown or red in the new issue?
He doesn't have a cape in the new issue. He's like Commando Spawn without a cape.
It's funny because that at least has some continuity with what happened in Dragon. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, can I also tell you guys are talking about the covers for Spawn 266. You had the one that was like by Larsen, and then you had the one by McFarlane that you were jazzed about.
Yeah.
So I got the one by McFarlane, but I got the black and white edition.
Right.
So I don't know how rare that is, but I was pretty stoked.
So that's why there's 4 covers. There's a color regular and a black and white regular, and then there's a color and black and white Todd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Todd's, I don't know, it's kind of weak because all he did was take...
There's no background.
Well, he didn't even draw it. He just took a Larsen drawing and inked it.
I did that. I drew Dragon as Judge Dredd and put it on Facebook. It's really easy.
And it's not even Malcolm. It's Savage Dragon from like issue like, I don't know, 30 something.
Yeah, it's almost the image from the wiki. Like when you Google Savage Dragon, it's like the first image that comes up.
Such garbage. It's like, come on, man, just draw it. Like, and at least draw Malcolm.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen, Malcolm in the costume.
It is.
It's like I feel like he doesn't even know what's going on. Maybe I don't know.
It is. It is the third image in an image Google search.
It's the third image.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I knew it was at the top. I knew it was like because I Googled it. I was like, because somebody's like, hey, that's kind of a classic like Savage Dragon drawing, and I was like, oh, it is, isn't it? And I Googled it, and like there it was, and it's like, oh, all right.
So, yeah. Anyway, should we get into the news?
You know what? I'm sorry. Because, again, this is kind of a slim pickings issue. While we've got you, do you have anything that stands out, anything left unsaid that you would have liked to have voiced about the Savage Dragon, like, issues you've missed? So I feel like, for instance, when we skip past an Angel issue, it's like, oh, Jim would have loved to say so. Is there anything you're just dying to say about like the Savage Dragon issues you missed?
Yeah, that was the one issue I missed, was the one about Angel.
I know, all the irony.
I don't think there was anything off the top of my head. There were decent issues that weren't my favorite. I thought it was a weird choice for Erik to select kind of like Ant bad guys with Ant in the issue. I think that kind of makes it confusing for
I could see that.
a reader, but I mean,
but he also played it as confusing for Malcolm as well, so
yeah,
because he punches her by accident.
I am a little bit sick of these, whether it's ants or trolls or whatever, just popping up out of the ground. And I do agree with you, Jim. Like I don't know if it was you, Jim, or Raven that talked about let's get like some longer plot lines back in and get away from the
things have been done in one for a while.
Yeah,
it's been kind of by rote now. The series, the general issues go, because Malcolm's mostly just beating up randos, and the plot line is the family stuff.
Yeah,
or Dart.
Yeah.
And now Dart's in the can, so.
But I don't know why, and I would say my favorite years of Dragon were maybe like some of the SOS issues or like around like the 40s. You could balance like the personal life and still have like long running threads with like villains, and like you'd see a guy in the shadows, and I just feel like the same thing as you. Like sometimes like he'd have these really, so when Malcolm first like got the book, remember like Erik had all these awesome, like each month like the cover had some cool villain, like the guy was like 2 different colors and shit, and they were like on building tops, and you're like, man, these guys are so cool. And then they would be dead by the end of the issue. They'd get beat up and then electrified. And I was like, man, it's like, did you really have to kill him? It would be cool. I think fans, right?
Something to talk about later,
right? But I think fans appreciate more like getting that nod in the character appearing like further on. I mean, how much like rather than just waste the guy, how much cooler would it be to see him as like a vicious circle baddie in the background of an issue? I get more of a kick out of that than just seeing like these throwaway goons.
Erik said before that if he kills a character, it's no big deal to him. He'll just make another, and that's fine. But at the same time, you kind of lose that like your Makos or your powerhouses or your what have you, is characters that are just kind of always there.
Well, and it's always fun to be like, oh, this guy appeared. Like when he had a huge Vicious Circle rogues gallery, it was always kind of neat to be like, oh, I haven't seen that guy in 50 issues, but there he is.
Like the guy with the dome for a head, or that one that was in the backup with was it Hurt? Was it never mind. Anyway, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, or they wouldn't get any like limelight shined on them until like issue like I don't know 125. So they appeared like randomly, and then finally like War God gets a little bit of a backstory or whoever, and it'd be like, oh, that's really neat. And I wish he would do a little more of that and not be as quick to like kill guys.
Yeah, I agree. I totally second I think the way we said it I believe, was that we were ready for a rogues gallery to take shape.
Yeah, definitely.
Ready.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because the thing is that like, every hero is as good as their villains. The joke was that, Marvel guys always fight each other because some of them have terrible rogues galleries.
Right.
And it's kind of like, whereas, like Batman's got this iconic rogues gallery. Even Dragon Sr. had a fucking iconic rogues gallery.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, and so Malcolm, sadly, I think
He's got his dregs.
Yeah, she's just been beating up losers left and right. And so, with the exception of Dart, who's a badass, but at the same time, thematically is familiar.
Right. She's a callback to a dragon character, so.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, I think, and it's funny because we do have, like, the new Vicious Circle. And I think there's, and again, like Jim said, foreshadowing for this very issue. We'll talk about it. I have thoughts that I want to share there, but like, yeah. I think that's you're saying. Jim, I believe, came up with the idea, but I totally seconded.
Yeah.
That I think it's time for a rogues gallery to take shape.
Yeah. Or just, I feel like, it's if a guy's been around for a little bit longer and then is killed, it's more impactful than,
right.
Oh, yeah.
A self-contained issue where the guy's killed at the end. I don't get anything out of the guy being killed. Like, it doesn't really impact me.
I mean,
I much prefer the guy go to jail or something and then, like, show up 10 issues later or 20 issues later.
I mean,
and fight again.
how relevant would a character like War and Peace be right now?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If he came back.
He would be incredibly relevant right now.
Chicago's newest hero.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, this is comics, so if he decides he wants to bring someone back, he can always turn him into like some half android stuff or whatever it is. But whatever. But
even the solicitation for like an upcoming issue, it was like Malcolm's, task to take down Belco Chemicals, and I'm hoping not yet.
Yeah, right.
Not yet.
He just became a flying head. Come on.
Yeah, no. It's like, please don't throw Mr. Belco down the volcano.
But the cool thing is, that's kind of that's kind of like a Malcolm type. I don't know if Belco is you consider a character, but just a plot line.
Belco will someday be as infamous as Overlord. I assure you.
You never know. What's so funny in this book is how a joke character can become a heavy hitter like Glum.
Oh yeah, Johnny Redbeard.
But
Johnny Redbeard.
Even Glum is a holdover from Dragon days, and you get a feeling that his shelf life is pretty much at an end. Who knows where the trial of Glum will end up?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, well, I'm glad. I'm glad we got to hear just your take on that too. That's kind of the thing. I feel like somebody sent in a message and they're like, yeah, I feel like I think like it's cool though. I mean, people needed time to warm up to Malcolm. I think you needed all those like super heavy Malcolm centric episodes where a bad guy didn't really steal the show or wasn't really the focus.
Right.
I just think it's time.
But even then, you'd have a character like Arachnid. Like he goes into a sewer and there's Arachnid eating a bunch of people and he throws him out into the paddy wagon. That seemed like a more like, I don't know, interesting battle than any that Malcolm have really had. At least to me. It just felt like it was more world building than a lot of these uglies he beats up.
Right.
Yeah. Just like they're just robbing a bank. They're not really up to much. Just robbing a bank.
Yeah, you get the typical kind of abomination looking kind of ugly unlimited guy in street clothes, and I miss when those guys were actually like just costumed kind of villains, which looked really cool.
Yeah, they have all seemed to have gone to street clothes for the majority.
Wife beaters.
Apparently armor costs whoever was making all the armor is out of business.
It's just passe now for villains. So.
Well, of course,
that was so 90s. We're casual now.
Johnny Redbeard just made it when he created you. It was.
Yeah, right.
You sprung from his beard, fully clad in armor.
Yeah, you got powers and a fancy costume.
Who was a vampire chick that like they buried her on the island with the tikis?
Oh yeah,
So 90s.
yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing some of that. I don't know.
Like
It's cool.
Witchblade, same clothes designer.
Well, I'm glad that I wanted just to get your take on just things in general. It's cool to hear you sound off on that too.
Well, I appreciate you asking, Raven.
Well, I guess is it time for some news?
News. So really exciting first bit of news is like super cool. There is going to be a Mighty Man exclusive comic for ATHENSCON. ATHENSCON. All right. So Erik Larsen, who we all know and love, and you guys are gonna have to help me out here. Nikos, how do you pronounce his last name?
I'd say Koutsis.
But
Koutsis.
Colorist of Savage Dragon have united their scripting and art prowess to present us the first ATHENSCON exclusive titled Mighty Man #1. You can find the exclusive comic at the organizer booth and Larsen and Koutsis' tables. It's 20 pages, black and white, and will be available only in limited number. It'll cost €5, which is equal to $5.30 American dollars. ATHENSCON takes place on December 3rd and 4th in Athens, Greece. I did not realize it was Athens.
It's like Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
Actually, Nikos Koutsis is Greek, and so is what's his name? The guy who does the flats. I think Mike Torres.
I did not know that.
I also didn't know he was an artist, and according to the preview pages I saw, a pretty good one.
Yeah, he did a backup before. And what, 150, I think, or something?
I can bring it back to you real easy. It was very angel-centric, and it had those very cartoon graphics where they beat up the trolls.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the summary of the story is Betty Bradford is a 6-year-old kiddo, and she's also Mighty Man's alter ego. But she's too young for the task and needs to be under surveillance. Otherwise, the city of Chicago would suffer the consequences. Savage Dragon's son, Malcolm, with the members of the SOS, are the ones responsible for the struggle. Super Patriot, Barbaric, Ricochet, Hortus, and more, as well as Mighty Man, will knock your socks off. So that's cool that it's dealing with Betty growing up and all these classic Freak Force and characters.
I do find that it's funny that Nikos is teaming up with Erik, but yet the comic's in black and white.
But he's a colorist.
Yeah.
I think the plan is that they're going to color it and run it as backup.
Yeah, I think Erik did say that, or someone. I read that somewhere that it would run in Savage Dragon. But now, the completist in me needs to get this somehow.
Good luck.
I agree. And what's funny is you wouldn't think, it probably won't be. But what's so funny is like that Oscars variant is worth like $350.
Is it really?
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Get out.
Like those rare, super rare, weird Savage Dragon, like very tiny, like variants.
Yeah.
I bet the manga size Ashcan one's probably getting harder to find. I don't think I've ever seen one in the wild.
Really? I love that. I love that one. I forgot about that.
My comic shop has like 2. So if you don't have one or if you need it, just hit me up. I'll take care of you.
What was the one with the issue with like the comic book mascot on the cover?
Oh, what?
Oh, Flying Colors.
Yeah. The Flying Colors variant.
My comic shop had, for me to get it, my comic shop had to buy like 8 issues of it or something.
Right.
From them. So I paid for like 8 issues so I could get. I'm such a loser.
Oh, dude, because I think isn't that one worth something good too?
Probably.
I don't know.
Probably hard.
Is it really? I can't believe it would be. I mean,
well, people are selling it for that much, but are people paying that much?
Well, there you go. There's the truth.
Exactly. I mean,
okay.
How many Savage Dragon completists are out there that are like?
Well, there's you and Gavin.
Right. Right.
But it's funny because that bug's bitten me. Like now that my collection's complete, like I kind of like variants are some of the few remaining things calling my name.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that's how the bug bites you, is like, well, you've got all these other issues, and so if you want anything more Savage Dragon centric, that's kind of like the
Mini series #1 newsstand edition.
yeah. Or was it like Graphic Fantasy is worth like $1,000 or something crazy?
Well, that one probably would actually go for that much, if only because it's more about Erik Larsen being the big Spider-Man guy and it being like his earliest work, published work. So it's like,
but it's also like the first Savage Dragon too, right?
That's true. So it's like historically noteworthy for Erik's contribution. Yeah. Whereas like Flying Colors variant, not so much.
But to like 5 people, it's like
it's super sought after. Money. Yeah.
The digest, someone's trying to sell it for 25 smackers.
Mm. That's like the Savage Dragon Spawn comic that was like, I don't know, Spawn 25 or whatever it was, 32 or I don't know, but it has like both logos on the cover.
Yeah, I think that's a newsstand edition like variant, possibly. I feel it has a barcode on the cover.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, this Mighty Man one shot sounds super cool, and the fact that most of us are gonna have to wait to read it for a while is kind of sucks. I really like the idea now that Betty's getting older that she might, I don't know, finally become like the Billy Bastion Mighty Man always needed.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, and somebody needs a superpowered babysitter coming up here pretty soon.
I gotta say, we on the FINcast many times have wanted for Erik to team up with somebody just to give us peeks into the extra characters of the world.
Right.
And so, just if for nothing else, just for that sake, that like this is exactly what we've been asking for so long. We've been like, oh, I just wish he would just team up with somebody, and just like he could write it, they could draw it, and I would buy it. Like, here this is, and that's exactly what so yeah, I'm super jazzed.
Yeah, I miss those days where he had like Super Patriot and Deadly Duo and Mighty Man and Freak Force, and it was him writing with a bunch of different people drawing it.
I'm telling you, I hope people support it. This is obviously a super rare variant that they can't, but one of the other things he threw out is that it might possibly be collected over here. Like, it might not just be run as backups.
Just publish it as an issue.
Possibly.
He'd probably color it in.
I'm actively curious. Do you think this is in English?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. I think it is.
I wish, here's what I would wish if I'm going to wish things. Here we go. I wish it wouldn't just go straight to backup.
Right.
I wish that it would be, if not printed, which black and white's much cheaper to print.
Right.
So it's much less of a sales loss.
And less likely to be ordered.
True, but at the same time, I mean, you got to look at both sides of the coins there. It's like, to be a success, finger quotes, true, it's less likely to be ordered, but it's also much more likely to succeed, finger quotes.
Right.
To be worth his time. So I wish that if it wasn't going to be printed alone on its own, I wish that he would open his mind up to the possibilities of a digital sale.
Yes, if you can't
sell it digitally,
just put it up. On the Comixology or Image Store, and just see what happens.
I would buy it.
Digital exclusive. Alternatively, everyone loves a flip book.
Yeah.
Just pick like Savage Dragon like 225 or something and slap it on the back.
That would make great filler for an anniversary issue. Yeah,
225 is not too far off.
Second bit of news, Raven.
Oh yes, I think everybody will be extremely excited for this news. It's just such a, it's not at all a divisive topic.
A watershed moment of Savage Dragon history.
I think it's going to be really a great issue. It's going to be the best issue, really the best issue. Just no other issue like it.
It's going to be bigly.
It's going to be huge. Larsen confirmed on Facebook, I have drawn Donald Trump. With every president since Clinton, I have had the president appear in at least a panel. so I thought I'd get it over with. So Donald Trump will be in Savage Dragon. He went on to say, it's in a let's just get this out of the way kind of way. We see him on TV giving his victory spiel where a supporter yells out, kill Obama, just like in real life. So
I hope there's like an asterisk and like an editor's note box that says, this actually happened.
You know what? I am surprised. Here's what I am surprised. I'm amazed that I've not seen one person say, he's shoving his politics down our throat. I've not seen it once. I've been looking and looking, and no one has.
You've been ready to like retaliate. Say it.
Say it. Say it. No, I just expected it.
You're just like on Facebook with your finger like ready to like pounce.
Just got a jag safe to a
Give me a reason.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think it's kind of funny because I know a lot of people are passionate, and I won't get into any of that at all. But I will say that as caricature style people, like just people with a weird look, go, like you're never going to have a better punching bag than Trump. Like he's just got such a weird look.
Do you remember the Savage Dragon issue where like it opens up with Bill Clinton, like a full splash page of Bill Clinton's face?
The smiling face reaching out.
Yeah.
I don't. Which issue?
You don't remember? It was like during the SOS period.
Yeah, I think
right?
he was trying to shake Super Patriot's hand because he was a big fan.
Yeah, and Super Patriot is like super conservative.
No.
Right? Oh no, he's a liberal.
He's super
yeah,
liberal,
right.
But he still didn't like Bill Clinton very much.
Is that it? I don't remember. It was Rex, which was super conservative.
Right.
I know somebody was they were having a fight about it. I remember. All I remember is bushwhacked. I remember Bush getting clobbered.
That was the imposter.
I was the imposter,
That made it okay.
I remember
Kerry and Bush on the cover of one.
the Obama. Oh yeah. Where they're grabbing their collars like.
Dude, was the Obama cover 4 years ago or 8 years ago?
It would have been 8 years.
It would have been.
Oh my god!
First election.
Yeah.
That's insane. That seems like it was like a couple years ago that comic came out.
It does, dude.
Because remember, like he did it, and then all of a sudden it was like Spider-Man did it, and then like everybody started doing it.
Well, it's funny. And not to get into your life so much, but like we were talking about like landmarks and everything else. I was saying that Nick Justice, his baby is the same age as Malcolm's babies. And
for the listener, Nick Justice is he's been a host a couple times, and has he done a couple of backups or?
He was a founding father, wasn't he?
No, he means in the book. I don't think he's drawn any backups in Savage Dragon.
No, but yeah, he was fine. He did do the first episode with us, the FINcast.
First one or two, I think.
Yes. So I just wanted to put that note in there.
No, he only did the first episode, then Adam joined us on the second.
Gotcha. So anyway, sorry, Raven. Didn't mean to cut you off. But...
No, it needed context. But like Nick Justice's kids are, his kid is as old as Malcolm's kid because they were born in the same month. I guess your daughter's the same age as Betty Bradford, little Mighty Man.
Yeah, 6 years old.
Oh, that real time is so weird.
And I feel like my kid's kind of controlled. Like it wouldn't be like if she was Mighty Man, wouldn't be ripping apart the city.
I feel like 6-year-olds probably know what right and wrong are.
Yeah.
You're not agreeing with me, Craig.
Yeah, sure.
Craig just got a distant sound in his voice. Yeah.
They know what right and wrong is, but do they listen?
I just like the landmarks. Like, it's just funny. Like, talking about things seeming like they were yesterday, it seems like bumbling Mighty Man that was just wobbling around Goo Goo was hauled off of panel just yesterday, and now all of a sudden Mighty Man's 6. It's like, whoa, what?
Yeah, because that was like one of Malcolm's first solo encounters, wasn't it? Was Mighty Man going nuts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
So very, very, very interesting. Very interesting.
So Craig, you want to lead us into our next section?
Sure. So our next segment is our FINteresting Conversations segment, where you, the listener, are asked to write in with whatever questions you'd like the host to discuss. And you can contact us at savagefincast@gmail.com. Each episode, one listener will receive a one-of-a-kind FINcast t-shirt designed for 2016. I think this would probably be our last one for 2016. We may switch it up, our prizes for 2017. But for now, the t-shirt that you will receive will never be for sale and never be available after this year. So let's get to the questions.
And they look good.
So we got a couple of questions this week. We'll start off with John Panozzi, and John wrote, "I've suggested this idea for a FINteresting conversation before, but you didn't use it. Hopefully you'll consider it now. Are there any specific actors, celebrities you think would be good choices for specific Dragonverse characters due to acting ability and/or physical resemblance? You can include people who are now dead or too old to play the characters now." What do you guys think?
I've got one, but I don't know if you guys will know him off the top of your head. Did either of you followed like any like current WWE wrestling?
I do,
Like
a
the
little
last
bit.
5 years. I think
Yeah.
the wrestler Ryback would be the perfect Mako.
Ryback.
He's got the right Ryback. He's got the same like
How do you spell that? I gotta look that
Ryback
up.
RY.
BACK.
Yeah,
Right?
he's got like this like super muscly like as a human he's got like the same build as Mako. You just put a shark head on top of that.
He's got like no neck. That's why.
Yeah, that's it. He looks just. When you said that, I was like, "Yeah, I get it."
That's kind of cool. They're just gonna like make the movie and then like just put on this giant prosthetic shark head.
Well, I was thinking more doing the motion capture and with the balls, and then you just kind of build the character on top of his body type. So it just seems like more natural. And just ever since I started watching wrestling and he's been around, I went, that guy moves and acts like Mako. He's even got a shark theme already. His catchphrase is "Feed me more."
Oh. Yeah, that could work.
But
I
that
could
was
see
the first
Ryback.
one that just jumped to me.
What do you got there, Raven?
I'm gonna say Scarlett Johansson could be Maxine.
What?
Oh, that's it.
Oh, because like Ghost in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie.
I'm joking. No, I honestly, what's so funny is that like, I feel out of the loop on like modern celebrities. I feel like everybody I would list would be like too old to play, and I know John gave us that out, so I'm gonna go ahead and just say like I feel like Rosario Dawson would make a sweet Ant.
Okay.
Like, because Ant's got kind of a I don't know what Ant's actual ethnicity is, but whatever. People can play different whatever. So I like Rosario Dawson. I see her as Ant. She could make a good Ant. I don't know who I would have play Malcolm. Of course, Malcolm's the most important dude.
I think she would make a better Alex Wilde, actually.
Who, Rosario for Alex Wilde?
Yeah.
I could see that. Just get her in there. She's good. I like her.
Yeah. I still stick with, I think Henry Rollins would be awesome as Old Man Dragon. Like the skinny dragon.
Yeah.
I also,
I
don't know.
I had a good one for Angel, but I can't remember who she is. Let me work on that.
I was thinking of the girl from, what's the Mark Millar superhero movie?
Oh, Kick-Ass?
Kick-Ass?
Yeah, what's that girl that plays in that? She's kind of older now, but she might be a good Angel.
Oh, for Angel?
Yeah.
She's too nostrily.
You think?
Chloe
I'm joking.
Moretz, is that who it is?
Chloe Moretz, I think, yeah.
Sarah Michelle
remember-
Gellar.
As Angel?
Yeah.
No, as Dart.
In her prime.
She would make a great Dart.
Yeah.
Yep. She would probably make a good Dart now, is what's so funny.
Do you guys remember the 90210 reboot?
No, I remember that it happened, but I don't remember it.
Like the African American kid was like the lead. His name is Tristan Wilds. He would make a great Malcolm, I think. He's kind of got that Malcolm look.
Tristan Wilde, huh? I'm going to Google 90210 now.
I've never really been it's kind of like how I'm not really an art guy. I'm not really an actor guy. So it's hard for me to like remember who people are. Oh, you know who would probably, no.
Oh, I see him. Craig, that's spot on, dude. Yeah.
Do you know, did either of you guys see Prometheus?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do you know the woman with the hair? Like, yeah, perfect. The Wayland, the daughter.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I think I'll look her up real quick.
I also think Sienna Miller would be a good dart.
The real question is, who does Idris Elba play? Because he's in everything. Actually, I was going to say voice Overlord, but we know what Overlord looks like, so under the armor.
You can have anybody be the voice, though.
Shoot, where is it?
Yeah, I'm like super out of the loop on actors. Like, people are always like, oh, blah, blah, blah is cheating on yada, yada. And I'm like, I have no idea who that is.
And I don't care.
Who was it? I guess Hannah Montana grew up to be... She would probably make a really good Angel.
No.
No?
No.
Miley Cyrus is a mess.
No, wait. No, I'm thinking of someone else then. It's not Miley Cyrus I'm thinking of. What is it? So, because they were like, you won't believe how blah, blah looks. And I'm like, well, they were always attractive, so that's not really a stretch. This is the most pitiful segment.
Sorry,
we're all
guys.
so out of touch.
All right. Yeah.
Like, we're all so painfully out of touch. And he gave us the out, so we could be naming, like, anybody. Like, so...
I think we should move
Humphrey
on.
Bogart is Savage Dragon.
I think Abraham Lincoln.
Orson Welles.
Well, it was a good question. I think we're the wrong people to answer it, is what's said.
I think we did a good enough job. I guess we didn't. All right, let's move on to the next one then. Matt Hickman wrote, "Hey guys, Matt Hickman here. First off, I'd like to thank Raven for the t-shirt. It's both stylish and comfortable."
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking about, I guess he won. Oh, I guess I probably should read the rest of the letter first before I jump. Secondly, love the show. Since I got the Magical Girl Maxine one, it got me thinking what other amalgam-style mashups of Savage Dragon and whatever you guys would like to see. Here's hoping I win so I get a Thunderhead shirt. So he's talking, you did one of your shirt prizes was Maxine mashed up with Sailor Moon, right?
Right, because she was wearing the, that was actually Jim's suggestion.
Because I think she should become a real magical girl. She wouldn't have to worry about getting her head knocked off.
They were constantly making Sailor Moon jokes too.
Right, because she was always wearing the sailor costume as her school uniform, even after she graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm. So it made perfect sense to me. So when we did the mashup, I thought it was a home run, a home dunk, as we like to say here on the FINcast. But yeah, I think that was good. As far as mashups, like, you know, so we were thinking like, you know, like combos here. What do you guys got?
I'm so out of it. I really don't know.
Make it some old thing you like then. I know you like old things too.
Then step aside, my friends.
Go ahead, go for it.
Found in a burning field by Eustace by Frank Fargo. Trained in the academy for 15 years. He is Judge Dragon. The mean streets of City 1.
I didn't see that coming.
Well, see, since you've got the main character, you gotta mash up those supporting cast.
Well,
really sell it
to be fair, that's actually kind of easy. His sidekick, of course, would be a mixture between Alex and Judge Hershey. Would be I'm bad with names. Alex Hershey. That's pretty easy, actually.
Was that the blonde girl in the new movie with Keith Urban?
No, that is Judge Anderson. She is a telepath. Probably mix her with she isn't really a sidekick. She's in the comics. She's more of a side character, co-star, if you will, in her own series. Probably would have to like mix her with Dart, original.
You want to talk about a good angel? That girl was just shockingly attractive in that movie.
Good choice. Yeah, actually, that would probably be a pretty good Angel. She's probably a few years too old now, but at that time, she probably would have been a good fit. Because Angel's like, what, 18 to 21?
Yeah. It's funny is I don't know shit about Judge Dredd, so you could totally just be lying and making it.
Right.
Oh no! all other Judge Dredd fan will completely understand my references. It's just, I don't know, they just kind of fit together so neatly. I keep trying to write scripts about him, like full scripts, like comic book scripts.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go anywhere, I'm afraid. Not really an amalgam, but I could totally see like Kill Cat and Kid Avenger merged with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold.
Yeah,
they're both archetypically similar. They're both bumblers, and two of them are like finesse characters, and two of them are like powered guys from the future.
How about Kerr, Herald of Galactus?
That would be nuts.
That would be awesome.
I'm sure Universo's in the looking for one.
Or you could do that too.
That'd be a good Elseworld.
Yeah, that's like a super slam dunk combo. Kerr, Herald of Galactus. Oh, people would be so fucked. He's just so evil. He's just so evil.
He's ruthless.
What do you got, Raven? You got one?
You got anything?
We're not letting you off.
Who are you going to mix Rodney with? Come on.
That's I gotta say, I know it sounds funny because they're so similar, but I think that's why it would make such a delicious combo.
Oh,
I'd like to see a Savage Dragon Invincible amalgam.
Really, those two?
Just smash them up. Just how
not Alan the Alien.
Just think about like just how weird and like cool those combos could be. Like there could be like a robot overlord combo.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the comics Invincible and Savage Dragon? You don't mean the character Invincible and Savage Dragon.
Well, I mean, you can jam Malcolm together with whoever, you think makes an interesting combo. I always thought it would be kind of interesting since Dragon shits on Superman so much. It'd be interesting to see how he would change with his mindset and those powers.
If he could fly.
If he could do, all those Solar Man things. You read the Savage Dragon Superman combo, he spends his whole time talking about, like, what a putz he is.
So Jennifer and Eve merged together?
Just smash them together. Smasher and Eve, whatever you want to do. I just think there's so much room.
Adam Smasher, it writes himself.
The Astonishing Shrew. Shrew and Wolfman. Tech Jacket and Tank. Mm-hmm. Battle Tank. Just jam it. Just smash these characters together.
And those two comics are so similar that it would work.
That's why I think it would be good. If you want something that's completely ridiculous, just jam it together. Like, there's no way it should work, so let's see how this shakes out. It would be cool to see, like, Hellboy and Savage Dragon smashed together, amalgamated.
To be fair, they're fairly similar.
Yeah, I think so.
In particular, they're both, strong ground-based fighters. And they have, like, support teams that they sometimes, in the early days they work with, but basically separated at a certain point. Like the Freak Force and the BDRB could be like merged together.
I'm thinking from a visual standpoint how cool it would be to just imagine, like, here's this red dragon.
Yeah, so he'd be like, he'd look sort of like Dragon with horns and a tail and red.
Oh yeah, just smash them together, like mix them up. Like he'd be like Savage Dragon Finn, but red, and he'd have like a right and left hand of Doom. So you just have giant stone fists on each arm.
And he too can go to hell.
See, I'm just telling you.
Did I ever say my greatest disappointment is that when Dragon was quote unquote dead, like the third time, was at the same time that Hellboy was in hell. It was like the perfect opportunity to have him have another crossover, and it never happened.
Or if they just bumped into each other for a panel, and was like, "Oh, hey."
But then Dark Lord brought it back to life a few issues later.
I think when you're doing a successful amalgam, you really want that cool visual. Like you want something like Judge Dragon is a cool visual.
Well, it's just Dragon in Dread's uniform. Actually, it's striking, but it's not very like, I guess, it's not as like. Are either of you guys familiar with the original amalgam that Marvel and DC did?
Oh yeah,
Because I
those are
absolutely
garbage.
Why I adored it. It was like the best.
I don't know. I'm talking out my ass. I just saw the covers and I didn't like them. I did not read any of them.
I hated the design work on a lot of those mashups.
It was like Wolverine, Batman.
Okay,
get out of here.
Get
out of here.
Was bad. Super Soldier was great. It was Captain America carrying Superman's chest shield as a shield. That was brilliant.
Okay, all right.
Didn't they call the Wolverine Batman guy Dark Claw?
I don't. Yeah, I'm basing all of my opinion on that cover in that title. So I'm sorry, Jim.
I will give you that one. Okay, but like Spider Boy by Mike Ringo was like one of the best.
Yeah, people really like that actually.
I mean, that issue actually had a lot of really cool.
I think Ladron drew that from what's that? Hip Flask.
No, it was Mike Ringo.
Oh, he drew it?
He drew it. I thought
Ladron drew an issue of that or something.
He might have drawn the following year's Spider-Boy team-up where he met the Legion of Galactic Guardians 2099, which was the Legion of Superheroes mixed with anybody.
Mixed with the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Some of them, yes, but there's so many Legionnaires they just kind of drew from all over the place to make all the amalgams work. My absolute favorite though was Lobo the Duck.
Oh god,
that one was amazing.
And it's funny because like they're even doing stupid stuff like that now with like Deadpool the Duck and stuff, and it's just like that makes me want to just go lay down.
Well, multiverses are hot again. They don't scare people anymore.
They still scare me.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
all right. So
amalgams are fun. I love amalgams. I mean, I could do non-Savage Dragon ones all day, like Superman, Astro Boy, and stuff like that. But it's tougher with Dragon. You kind of got to think it through because you're not just merging characters. You've got to find two worlds that can be somewhat compatible with each other, because when you're making a good amalgam, you have to like take historical story beats and kind of make them also merge those in a natural fashion.
I think for me, as long as you have a cool visual, I think that makes it work a lot. That goes a long way.
Yeah.
Like when I said Invincible and Savage Dragon, like I just mentally visualized like that Invincible costume, not with the goggles and stuff.
Right.
I mean, technically, what's funny is the top of his costume, the head is open.
I mean,
so,
you could do that.
Would it make more sense to merge Malcolm with Bulletproof?
Maybe, but the top of his costume is closed. Like, I just visual. If I could draw it, you would like it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Like that visual of that costume, but like on Malcolm's like crazy giant torso, little leg body type. Just think it'd look cool.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's wrap this segment up. We selected the winner, and it's John Panozzi for this bout, this round. So, John, send your information over to us. You can reach us at savagefincast@gmail.com. And for your listeners out there who want to submit a question for our next episode, the same thing. Send your questions to savagefincast@gmail.com, and we'll read them on our next episode.
Also, happy birthday, John, as fate would have it.
What, today?
Yeah, pays to play.
How do you know it's his birthday? From Facebook or something?
From Facebook.
Oh, all right, cool. Stalker.
I know, dude. I'm crazy.
So should we talk about what we're all here for?
I have one news item. This is not even really news. It just occurred to me. I know. It just occurred to me while we were talking about mashups and amalgams. But I have a news item that's not really news at all. But it's kind of news, I guess. It was just that Erik was trying for the Ninja Turtles to come back for issue 222.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing that.
It got complicated because Viacom owns them now.
fell through. Confirmed not going to happen.
Wah wah.
So it's actually confirmed? Like, I remember he wasn't getting a response.
Well, he finally said they sent him back a thing and were like, nah, we can't make it work or whatever else. So confirmed not happening.
Oh, it's such garbage.
It's one of those things. I mean, it just sucks.
I mean, it's hard, dude, when corporations... When it started, it was just two independently owned characters, and it was a quick conversation.
I mean, Viacom can't do it because they've got deals with IDW. Peter Laird can't do it because he's got very strict rules about what he can and cannot do for his particular version of the Turtles. It's just one of those things that sucks, and it's one of the probably one of the worst sellouts in comic book history. Of how big Turtles are and like what they represent to like independent comics.
It's funny because I agree with you 100%. And at the same time, you want to know what's really funny about Ninja Turtles? Is that there's a Bill Finger situation going on. You know who Bill Finger is, right?
I do not.
Yeah.
Okay. In case nobody knows, Bill Finger, a lot of the stuff you know and love about Batman,
Right.
Bob Kane didn't make up.
Right.
Bill Finger did, right? Well, it's the same thing with the Ninja Turtles. A lot of the things you know and love about Ninja Turtles, like the dude that wrote the cartoon show in the 1980s,
Right.
he made all that stuff up.
Right.
Like their personalities, the different colors, like
Right.
all those things that for a lot of people, that is what the Ninja Turtles are.
Okay.
That guy made up. And nobody knows his name. Even now I'm telling you the story and don't know his name. And like, it's just funny because it's kind of weird because you're absolutely right. Ninja Turtles was just like the ultimate in indie comic success stories. And at the same time, a lot of what they are is owed to the corporate. Like, without that cartoon.
Yeah, would have Turtles become as big if it wasn't for that TV show? And the story of that TV show is kind of funny because it wasn't the TV show that it was all about. It was about the toy line.
Right.
The whole point, the TV show was a promotional tool for the toy line from Playmates.
Mm-hmm.
And after that initial, I believe, 5-episode miniseries, they were done. They weren't paying for it anymore. And so the studio that made it, I believe, forked over the money to continue it for like 4 or 5 more or 6 more seasons. That's why when you see like the box sets, it has the name of the studio on it. Because it's like I don't know, some sort of like legal thing. It's differentiated or something. But
it's weird. It's kind of a sad thing because like it's funny the history of Savage Dragon, like it's been around so long that like Ninja Turtles used to be just an easy grab, just a quick phone call away and you could have the Ninja Turtles in your comic. And now it's like just too many legal hoops to jump through.
Right. Yeah.
So sorry, I know that was a weird sort of a news item, but it just came back to me. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. That happened.
Just had to go out on a downer.
Sorry. Well, let's bring it back up. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes.
Savage Dragon 217, where we finally find out who that guy is on the cover.
Who is that guy?
Who's that Pokemon?
Jim, you totally called it like 6 months ago, I think.
Did I call it? Who it was?
Yes,
Yeah.
you did, dude.
No,
it blew my mind.
Well, wait a minute. How is that not completely obvious? They wear the same hat.
I didn't know.
I thought it was like hair, like, I don't know.
No, that's totally the helm, the crown he was wearing in like every appearance he'd had up to that point. It was like, I don't know, just the first thing that jumped out at me.
I thought it was like exploding solar plexus man. Like I have no, like I just didn't know. Like the hat wasn't enough for me to get it.
It's like one of those Dragon Ball Z guys or something.
Well, I remember when Jim put the thing up. Yeah, Eric was like, "Oh, good, someone's doing his homework."
Yeah, I remember that too.
And I was like, "What the hell? How'd you guess that? Like that's crazy."
I guess I'm just that good.
We didn't know that water wasn't lasers.
I think that's gonna be brought up every episode for in perpetuity. It just forever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we don't have an awesome track record of, like, getting it every time. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this.
I will say the cover is awesome. It tells you everything you need. Mysterious bad guy blasts your heroes.
Yeah, technically this is the end of the crossover.
This is the final issue of the crossover, yes.
Yeah, so we got Ant and Spawn and Malcolm going in the last hurrah.
Do you what do you guys think about the red logo with Ant over top of it? You think that was the right choice?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It didn't bother me.
I don't know. Just looking at it now, it kind of feels like maybe they should have been a different color to make it pop out a little better.
I feel like the red went with the overall color palette of the whole comic, like the whole cover. True. So I feel like kind of maybe they didn't have a choice so much.
Yeah, maybe making it like green or something just did not look good.
But no, that's a great cover. That's an awesome cover. And I want to say we've been talking about the color experiment that's been going on. Of course, we haven't gotten to hear Craig's thing, but you can see on this very first panel, we're getting a little back into texturing and the dirt on the ugly that's, laying on the ground.
Yeah.
I like it. So how you feeling about that, Craig?
I like it. I mean, I like him always mixing things up. He's still doing a lot of just flat colors, but
with texture.
Yeah.
He hit.
I think this whole issue is a lot of just flats.
Hitting it with that sponge brush tool in Photoshop.
I do love the backgrounds.
Well, with all the cops, or with all of those individual.
The trestle above the head shadow, like a little extra. The buildings are cool.
Gotta say, drawing all that stuff on the shelves in the supermarket must have been murder.
Oh, Boom Pow Tacos for the
I got a lot of Easter eggs there. I think on one panel there's Guy and Deuters on one of the boxes.
Really? Now I'm looking. I love just the scene of the babies exploding melons and stuff. That shit is hilarious.
You gotta learn early if you're gonna murder every bad guy you run into.
I do like what are they talking about? Like on the phone. I forget what panel it is, and they're like, who sent? Maxine on the second panel, first page, and she's talking to what's her name, Angel, and she's like, oh, last I heard from Malcolm, he and Ant teamed up with Spawn. It's just funny, comic book language. In real life, no one would say that.
Maxine watches a lot of movies.
Oh, they teamed up with Spawn.
They had a team up.
Yeah.
I don't know. This book's always been kind of self-aware about that stuff.
Yeah. It's funny, though.
She's just saying it sarcastically.
Well, remember the whole when are you going to have an evil twin conversation?
Yeah.
When are you going to have an evil twin? It's it's kind of funny that, in the world they live in, that's an actual thing you might have to think about.
I mean, this is a world where it's implied that the Avengers exist, but also the Avengers movie.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, I mean, Thunderhead's wearing a Punisher shirt.
He is. Man, Frank Castle must be branching into marketing.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like anytime you get Thunderhead in there, just as much Thunderhead as you can jam in this book.
For a moment, I thought someone shot him in the face. My heart stopped. I won't lie.
Where the babies threw a melon through him.
Yes.
Splut. Oh, you know what I want to say? Reading Savage Dragon has made me so aware of lettering and colorists and stuff where I never paid attention in any other books. The crazy thing, I kind of surprised myself when I got to the second page. I saw the pow sound effect, and I'm like, that doesn't look like a Chris Eliopoulos sound effect. I've never seen that before, and so I I flipped to the inside cover, and it's Russ Wooten. It's pretty crazy when you actually have read a book and you're so into a book that you can tell when the letterist, it's not the same.
Oh, is that completely changed?
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to say that the sound effects in this issue don't have the thick borders like what we're used to.
Yeah.
And it's funny to say that it's not ever really a problem. I mean, the thin lines on a sound effect. Oh no. But I'm just saying that we did actually talk about it in a previous FINcast.
Yeah.
that like whenever the sound effects have that really thin outline, it just doesn't match up with the more hand lettered like sound
No,
effects that we're used to.
Chris's stuff looks more ingrained with it, like a hand drawn, and this looks real computer generated.
Yeah.
You know.
Even though I believe it has been for a while.
No, I know that, but Chris's stuff is computer generated, but it's made to look hand drawn.
Yeah.
You know, like when I see it, I don't get that. It doesn't pop out. With these sound effects, I see them and it kind of just takes me out of it a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, these are computer generated.
I feel like they should have the same sort of color texturing as everything else to make them blend in a bit more, feel less jarring.
Yeah, I think the biggest. Go ahead, Raven. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just going to repeat myself. I was going to say I think as long as the thickness. Yeah,
because it doesn't match his pencil line either at all. You know.
Yeah, it's just way too thin. It's like a really unnatural. Like almost the thinnest line on the page is not as thin as those lettering.
They're also really sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Where of course Erik's like inks are like super like rugged. Natural, I guess.
It's a disconnect.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a sticker slapped on top.
It's just crazy when you read a book long enough that you just know, you just tell those like subtle differences pop out to you.
It's hilarious because I wasn't going to say anything because I thought to myself, hey, you're just being a picky bastard.
We're all picky bastards. You know?
I'm glad you said something. It allowed me to be a picky bastard with you. Yeah, that's the Babies in the Market is good, and then this double page spread, oh baby.
Yeah, that's gonna go for a pretty penny.
Oh yeah. You know, well, we're talking about wants and wishes and desires, right? So I know that again, we're just trying to, we're playing couch commando here. So, wish in one hand, shit in the other. But do you know how badass would it be to just have the option to buy this as a poster?
What? Oh, that? Yeah.
Yeah, just a print. Wouldn't that be a sweet ass poster?
Definitely. The pose is freaking cool.
You don't have to necessarily. The beautiful thing is again, we live in a print on demand world. So you don't even have to like pony up a bunch of dough and print a bunch of posters that you might not be able to sell. Just upload a high-res file to one of these print on demand places. Just give people the option if they wanted to because I would like buy a poster of this. This thing's bad as hell.
Yeah, it is really cool.
What did you guys think about the sort of the way the flying car was dealt with?
So did I looked back to see if I missed something because they talk about, what is his name? Mr. Gadget or something?
Something like that, yeah. It's Ant's friend.
Gadget Man.
Did they mention that in previous issues?
They mentioned in the previous issue of Spawn that she knows a guy who can get him a plane of some kind.
But they didn't say like Gadget Man or introduce anybody, right?
They didn't introduce him. And Maxine mentions the flying car, but then the next thing you see is them jumping from this explosion. And so it was kind of funny to me. I'm not really complaining, but it was just kind of a funny way to handle it. I wondered how, if anybody was confused. It didn't confuse me. Actually,
I was really confused.
So it messed with you a little bit. I wondered if it confused people.
What happened, it looks like, so it was a while between issues that I read like the Spawn and then this issue. And for some reason I thought they were on like a passenger plane because I saw like the little
there's a big like engine.
Yeah.
Outside.
So I'm like, okay, they're in a passenger plane that got destroyed, and I forgot where they were going. I thought they were on some island, but I guess it's Arizona, right?
New Mexico.
New
Mexico
desert.
I don't know. I was just confused. And I was like, Gadget Man, did I miss an issue? I'm like going back.
Nope, it was all between issues. Like you're learning about Gadget Man right now.
In real time.
Yeah.
Because they like go so into it. Like, oh, like Ant's like, Gadget Man's loyal. I trust him with my life.
Mm-hmm.
They just like talk about his flying car was cool. And I don't know. I just felt like there was something missing.
Well, it was their flight that's missing because it would have been full flight until it exploded.
And I don't need to see that flight or anything, but I just thought at least Gadget Man should have showed up in a panel of Spawn or something, or they should have.
Here's what's so funny. Get ready for this. You may have already seen Gadget Man. I think he was the hippie that drove them in the taxi.
Oh, all right.
That makes sense.
And another Easter egg that was real easy to overlook was behind Malcolm on the plane.
Oh, was Ant, right?
Was Ant.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I totally didn't realize.
That was in Spawn, right?
Yep. So if you go back and you read where Malcolm is on the plane, you look behind him, there's, Ant right there. So I was like, oh yeah, well, there you go.
So this fire guy's awesome.
Yeah. Little Human Torch action.
Yeah, there's not enough characters like that in Dragon, I think. It's just elemental types that just are covered in it and blasted about. I just think he looks cool.
Well, then you probably like Electricity Guy as well.
Not as much.
I like that Spawn, it was given his actual proper Spawn look in this issue.
Sans big
Yeah.
boot.
Yeah, me and Jim, if you heard that 3-hour megathon, we were not fans of the trench coat cape.
Yeah, right.
I was not a fan of Commando Spawn action figure with karate chop action.
I just think when you got a big brown cape and the ground is brown, that's not gonna look good.
We still don't know.
You guys definitely went on about that. You're not happy with the brown trench coat.
I like Gadget Man as an idea. I think Gadget Man is cool. I think it's cool to do. Talk about world building.
I hope he's a robot.
I hope he's not the hippie. I actually hope I'm wrong. I hope he's
probably the hippie, like Microchip or something, like just a regular dude that makes gadgets.
It'd be kind of neat if Ant just had a whole posse of just random people with a random ability, skills that she just calls upon on her globe-trotting adventures.
I'm really interested to see what's up. I like how also too Spawn's a bit of a dick in this issue.
Spawn is a massive dick, like a super huge, throbbing, massive dick.
Whoa.
Veiny. Yeah, he's like, maybe your friend Gadget Man tipped him off. It's kind of like it's just a shitty place for him to go.
Yeah, he's on his period or something.
He is. He doesn't trust anybody. Which
he just went on this super bumpy plane ride all the way to New Mexico or something. He's just hungry and low blood sugar.
He forgot he needs to eat.
Lots of turbulence. Stupid capes dragging in the wind.
Stupid cape.
I do like when the chains are killing people on the page that starts with hack. And Malcolm's losing his hand there.
Yeah.
I do love the dude in the very last panel with baby arms and baby feet coming out of his face.
I didn't even notice that. It's pretty funny.
Wait a minute. Where?
The very last panel.
There's a 6-panel page.
Okay. So his head is like a baby.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Talking about drawing the short straw.
So this is what I love. So there's that panel where Spawn's and the heroes are surrounded by dead bodies, and Malcolm's like, "What the hell is that?" and gives them the whole spiel about not killing people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the page before that, Malcolm's punching the jaw off a guy.
Definitely a hypocrite. Definitely a hypocrite.
I gotta say, this whole thing that it leads to between Spawn and Malcolm really comes off as naive, really naive.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's good.
I wonder if I want it to be intentional. I want it to be written that way. And it's not, Erik, his personal view. Because sometimes he writes his personal views into the comic. I just really hope it's just Malcolm, being young and inexperienced, and being a cop means he wants to trust cops. But he just this whole thing just kind of read as naive to me.
I'm telling you, the best line to ever hit a crossover.
I know what you're gonna say. I wrote it down too.
This is the best. When Spawn tells him how to Dragon raise such a goddamn pussy for his son. That's number one.
Oh,
yeah.
Number one.
I wrote that down.
He's the worst father.
I love it. It was the funniest thing. When I read that, you know, people LOL all the time on the internet and they don't mean it. I literally burst out laughing. I looked like a maniac. There were people around me. It's just too funny. That shit is too funny.
I also think Erik is like a master at drawing like I don't know how to say it, but like body language, I guess. Like, so you look at that bottom panel and like Spawn's just like huffing away and Malcolm's chasing after him. It's like he's captured it so well. Like you can look at that and see that Spawn just kind of like marching away pissed.
Mm-hmm. The storm off.
Yeah, Malcolm's just kind of chasing after him, nagging him.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like he really sold the shit out of the sequence. It's a good sequence, even though like kind of.
And it's a good sequence because it tells us that these people are working together, but they kind of don't like each other, like a lot.
I don't like a team up when people are just too chummy too.
Yeah,
when it's just unrealistic, like click unrealistically. And so, like, you know, Al Simmons doesn't really know Malcolm. And it was funny because even over the crossover, you sort of got that Al Simmons didn't really know Malcolm. So it's kind of funny. Like, I think we've talked about it in previous FINcasts about how, like, Malcolm doesn't just automatically have all the ties and connections that Dragon had.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a cool, like, you talk about, like, things in the comic. It is kind of cool to, like, show that really he's not there yet, you know. He doesn't have all the respect that his dad had.
And really, the only reason they're together is because they both owe Ant one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Nikos colored the shit out of the next couple of pages. When you see like the silhouettes of Dragon and Spawn, which kind of brings me back to like a throwback period of Dragon. I think Erik used to do this a lot more, but it's really effective. Mm-hmm. And you see the sun setting, and so you see like the view of like the sun setting, and then the next couple of panels, the way the lighting's on them, you really captures that. Like,
oh yeah, totally agree.
It's such a good job of coloring.
Yeah, totally agree. Or like the way you can see the van through the dust.
Yeah, yeah,
that's just nice.
Yeah, I just like those warm kind of colors that are just kind of subtle. And then as it goes on, so you go from like the white background pages to the black ones as the night kind of comes over. And that's probably Erik doing that. But the colorist just, you know, how Nikos made the colors just kind of a lot darker and just, it's just a subtle look, but it really, I think it really pays off well.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. The coloring on this was dynamite. Miley Cyrus concert shuttle.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like, where does he come up with this stuff?
It's like, what? No, it's good. I totally agree. I was going to compliment that silhouette panel.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Almost makes you wish the whole issue was kind of like night, because I think Spawn looks best kind of as a nighttime character.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It was good though. I like the transition, even like, you know, kind of like you said, like when it starts, it's all like, you know, it's daytime in Chicago, and even when they're down in New Mexico beating the shit out of people, I mean, the background's all orange and blue. And then just this transitioned into like suddenly it's like this night mission and they're trying to sneak into the camp. It's just great like contrast just between those two.
Yeah. And it doesn't need 65 text boxes telling you what's going on.
Dig.
I don't like this guy.
The sun is falling. It's now nighttime. We move towards the camp.
The van is small.
I'm Batman.
There's a Miley Cyrus concert shuttle.
My armor's like 3 sweaters now.
Something tells me that's not a real Miley Cyrus concert shuttle.
As Ant's costume pulls off of her face, I can now see her face because the costume's gone.
It's kind of funny how they both have shape-shifting uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
How handy.
Very convenient.
It is kind of cool too, and you have like 3 kind of minority characters in this, you know, like.
Yeah, yeah. I say here again, here's a comic. Everybody wants to beat their chest about diversity and stuff. And here's a comic that's really not like beating its chest about it. It's just like, here it is. It's like, boom. Everybody, like, pretty much. Like, Maxine is your only, not Maxine, but Angel is like your only really like Caucasian lead character right now.
Yeah.
Which is the total reverse of like almost every other book.
Right.
So they go to the camp, and apparently there's a bunch of kiss asses just hanging around trying to get powers off of Alzayah Stone, which he used to have. What was his other name before he was Alzayah Stone?
Like the Ancient One or the Chosen?
Yeah, I think it was the Ancient One.
Ancient One is more badass. That's all I was going to say.
I didn't really like it because it sounded like too much like, well, it's like Doctor Strange's mentor's names, like the Ancient One, or like Shazam's wizard. I guess that's the wizard Shazam. I guess that's not really the Ancient One. But yeah, I want to say that even in the latest Doctor Strange movie, the Ancient One is like a important character. So.
Okay. See, what's funny is I'm not the biggest like Doctor Strange fan, so I know shit about it.
Yeah.
It's
just kind of a familiar name that I think's been used a lot in like Marvel and DC comics.
I do like that Malcolm's whole like, oh, we're not going to murder him. We're not going to murder him thing.
No murder. Absolutely no murder.
We were just busting his chops about killing all his enemies. So maybe we're going to get our wish granted.
Yes,
that's all.
He will keep the order.
Mm.
Oh, can I tell you one thing I kind of found funny, and I missed this, but it was like they're talking about having to sneak in. There's one point where they're talking about, where is it? They don't want them to know they're coming. Like, so Malcolm, when they're in the van, Malcolm's like, we don't know what kind of communication system they have here, but if word gets out that 3 superheroes are heading up to confront this guy, there might be hell to pay. Didn't they already get attacked by some of his minions?
I think
doesn't he already know?
That's what he was talking about, is that he doesn't know if they like had cell phones and called it back to camp.
Yeah.
So he wants to keep it, he wants to go in incognito, so if that call did come through, they might be able to squeeze through.
Oh, I got you. I took it more as he sent them out to attack them.
Well, those guys were also the ones in that van.
One beautiful person, one handsome person, and a big green guy with a fin on his head. Not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
The refugee camp.
That's funny too when you think about it. Like, Malcolm's one of those superheroes that could never just like hide. No, like most superheroes can hide in the general population, take off their mask or whatever. He'll never be able to.
Plus, he's enormous.
Plus, he's enormous.
Plus, he's giant.
And also, he has large shoulders.
Just saying, he's not going to be able to really blend in too good. They get up there. There's the Ancient One.
Sitting on his throne, all Shang Tsung.
Just sitting in a cave.
Or I guess J.O. Khan. Sorry.
Sitting on his comfortable stone throne, staring at flames, bored to tears.
All these sob stories coming to me for superpowers.
Oh, we're dumbasses. Ancient One. He's Mighty One, isn't he?
Mighty One.
All
calls him Mighty One.
That makes... Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay.
So he's a Mighty Man in some way.
They call him Mighty One, like, multiple times. I'm an idiot. So basically, like... and he drops a line. It's cool. You never know what's nothing. You never know what's foreshadowing. But Stone drops a line that there's a storm coming. Could be an allusion. Who knows what he knows? But could be an allusion to something coming up. But then he does this cool thing where, like, he makes the cave walls just pop out.
Maybe he's prophetic. Maybe he knew Trump would win the election.
The storm is coming. The main thing I wanted to draw your attention to here is I feel like there's a hilarious little dig at some dialogue we had a problem with, where he melts Spawn's chain and he says, with a touch, your living costume melts away like ice on a sunny day.
And he's all, boing!
Now remember, weren't we kind of digging on that one like panel? He's like, I'm going to make your cape melt. The sword, the katana. He goes to stab the guy with the katana. He's like, my sword melts like paper. And then we were like, what the hell? Melts like paper. Like paper's never melted in the history of Earth.
Did it really say that? I don't remember that.
I got the comic right here. Let's see. It's the guy with the mouth and his teeth, and then you flip open.
Should have been a black box that said, "How did you read my mind?"
Bingo. He says, Spawn swings the sword at the guy. This is Spawn issue 264 for those of you who want to play along at home. He goes, Spawn swings the katana at him, and the katana melts with fire. And it says, my sword melted away like paper in a fire. and I remember we gave that line hell because we were like, melted like paper, like...
It's that Canadian paper.
Paper doesn't melt, you know? So, like, I remember we busted our chops, so when I was reading this, like, the chain flies at the Mighty One's hand, and, like, it just, you know, it just evaporates, and it says, with a touch, your living costume melts away like ice on a sunny day. And I was like, there we go.
And all was right again.
And it was fixed. That just seemed like a little dig. Just a funny little dig. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's just a funny difference there.
Mighty One here seems to have an eclectic mix of powers. He seems to be able to generate fire and like control rocks.
He claims he can manipulate atoms.
Oh, right, and that's why that's how he can give out powers, because he like changes your molecular makeup.
Which I'm gonna just say that for a guy who can manipulate atoms, he basically gets beat by them throwing rocks at him.
Yeah, that's sort of my problem a lot with this fight in general, is that the way he sort of describes his powers, and even in some of the ways he uses them, why doesn't he just turn them all to goo with the wave of his hand?
Or turn the rocks into, like, you know, something else, like
flowers.
Yeah. Like,
it's kind of that shit.
I had a little bit of a problem with how this guy, like, he's flexing such amazing abilities, and he is a badass. Like, he does a lot of, like, you know, he's throwing rocks at him, and he's just making the rocks like go away, and he turns the rocks in the hands again. And I guess I can't really talk about this too much without just talking about the end. But, like, I do love that there was a Brenda Funk callback.
Yeah.
But, because, again, that's awesome. You know, you were talking, Craig, about, like, continuity.
Right.
Like, it's always nice to have some callback there. But, like, just the way the Mighty One, like, he gets a rock dunked on his head and it breaks his helmet off. And it's like, him having his helmet broke off. He's like, oh, no. I surrender. And it was
it really hurt his head, man. He's got a freaking headache now. It's like, I don't want to do this anymore. What is he going to do? Surrender and, you know, just, like, use his powers to escape?
Yeah, it just seemed like he could have used his powers to escape or something.
Just sink into the earth and then walk out a wall.
Yeah, or put a big stone wall up between him and them and, like, you know, leave.
He did do that, but Malcolm punched through it.
Oh, yeah. The giant hands.
We don't know exactly how his powers work, so...
And I'm sure we'll find out.
Well, plus, too, you know, what's funny is, shit, he might not really be dead. You never know.
Well, that's true. He does get covered in rubble.
Which clearly is no problem.
So, yeah, he's dead, guys. Spawn's a dick.
Yeah, Spawn is a dick.
I do like how just like that panel, like you just see Spawn come out of the shadows and just
fuck you.
Shock.
That is badass, actually. I love like just where he's just the mask. I was like, oh, that's cool.
I also think it's funny how like right before that, Malcolm's like, "You're under arrest, Stone." Yeah, under what jurisdiction are you going to arrest him, Chicago cop?
See, that's another thing, is he keeps talking about like his authority, but he's way out of his jurisdiction, like way out.
Yeah, New Mexico.
He's not a U.S. Marshal. He's not an FBI agent. He's a local city cop. You can't just leave your jurisdiction and have any authority.
You know what it is, Jim?
What is it?
He is the law.
Yeah, he's the law.
So apparently Spawn made it out of that rock pile because he's in the new issue of Spawn and doesn't mention anything.
I like to imagine that Spawn is dead and that what we see in Spawn, the series, is now a clone, replacement, fake Spawn.
It's just mind heaven.
It's a Leonard the Duck situation, you see.
I do think it's kind of funny how Malcolm just seems to walk away, like just washes his hands of it. Oh, rock pile. Not going to try to see if my friends are alive. It just.
I don't want to do the paperwork.
Spawn, anybody?
Actually, Ant being missing is probably the funnier part. Like,
yeah, you would think like him and Spawn didn't get along too good, but of course, it's not like
she's an ant; she can dig.
I think you got to think the way it's framed that Ant kind of was responsible for that. So like, I was thinking that there would maybe be some crossover more between Savage Dragon and Ant whenever that book comes out.
Yeah.
Probably not so much. I mean...
What, you think she was the one who dropped the rocks down?
You see her up there.
Right.
She's above them both, and then down come the rocks, so...
Huh, good point.
Technically, Malcolm was the one being the dick. I don't think Ant really had a problem with killing Stone, so...
True.
So overall...
Yeah, I just... It's another cool villain cut down because why? Because we got to show Spawn being ruthless? I mean, sure, okay.
I think that was my problem with it, too. Was just like, here's a guy that could have been a cool villain in the book.
Yeah.
And who knows? He could still possibly be.
Yeah.
And he was built up for so long. And
yeah.
It's like, all right, he's dead.
Yeah, he's been being built up for almost... Well, he made his first appearance like 3 or 4 years ago. Whenever that Brenda Funk stuff happened. Which I think would be immediately after the invasion stuff.
Like, I'm ready for the next Overlord / Dart / Mr. Glum / Dark Lord.
I mean, to be fair, he's kind of a Johnny Redbeard because he's a power giver. He's a power broker.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's more interesting.
It's funny that you said that because he's actually had a guy called Power Broker.
Yeah.
He's had Johnny Redbeard. He's had this Mighty One.
Yeah, these freaks got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we never know.
Yeah. Well, he also has Belco Chemicals. They also make super freaks.
Belco Chemicals also make freaks.
Most of
a lot of places.
It's a huge industry.
People are just lining up to turn into whatever twisted animal-headed monster. Just in case they accidentally become a mighty man.
Wasn't overly thrilled with the Spawn because again, Spawn's a guest character. It's not going to go anywhere. Like it's not like now Malcolm and Spawn have bad blood and they're going to meet again and like they're going to fist fight. You shouldn't have killed Stone. I wanted to bring him in. Like it's just nothing. Spawn's going to be gone. He's not going to be back in the book. So it's kind of a bummer. Kind of would have been cool to see Stone go on to be a little bit more of a recurring guy.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be curious to see what happens next, because I believe next issue is a catch-up issue to get things up to real time, and then Trial of Glum starts.
I think that next issue could be pretty fun, though, because it kind of reminds me of, remember that issue he did, like, a year in the life?
Right. Wasn't that the one that had, like, started with 20 panels and then slowly...
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then,
that was a really awesome issue.
Ended in the one big panel with Dragon all blown up.
Mm-hmm.
That had Jughead of Shakes in that issue.
Jughead of Shakes. That's exactly what I was going to say.
We have another news item. Did we ever say that?
We did.
We did that one last episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's why I remember it, because I was editing.
But no, I like that Easter egg. That's a fun Easter egg. That's why Jughead of Shakes is never coming back.
Because he's Joe Keating?
Because he's Joe Keating, yeah. He went on to have a successful comic career. I think...
The name Jughead of Shakes was always kind of... The inflection always felt wrong to me because it... Never mind.
We're analyzing the Jughead of Shakes.
Because they don't call him the Jughead of Hamburgers. He's just Jughead.
Well, that's why you need a distinction. Like if you just said, I'm Jughead, you'd be like, this guy likes hamburgers a lot. I would just say this, taking it back to the issue, is that I'm not disappointed at all with this issue. The issue was fantastic. I loved, like you said, the coloring, the fight scenes were awesome. Any Maxine stuff you can give me is good. Bad Babies, all that shit plays fantastic.
Yeah.
The only thing really, and again, not even like you said, the moment where Spawn kills that dude is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I kind of saw it coming the whole way because of how much antagonism was between them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just didn't feel like it had the punch it should have had because I don't know. Like I said, Erik's done this kind of a lot, and it loses its surprise factor at a certain point.
That's the only thing I'll say is that everything was strong as shit. I mean, strong. And who knows? Like I said, the whole thing of this is that Malcolm's kind of not wanting to kill guys now. So this could be the issue that really drives home, okay, well, guys might get killed, but Malcolm won't be the one actively trying to kill people anymore. So
except for the guy who got his jaw knocked off. Maybe he had multiple jaws. Maybe that was his power.
He'll live. Yeah. He could have had 7 jaws. We don't know. So overall, how you guys feeling about it?
I mean, I think as a culmination of everything Erik's done in Spawn in the last, several months in Dragon, I think it's a fine conclusion to a decent arc.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really the ending I was hoping for because it feels a little bit, I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't feel like it should have been the end of this story. It should have transitioned back to a Malcolm-centric story somehow and then followed up on at a later date. I don't know.
Yeah, the whole story, I wasn't honestly, all right, I like parts of it as a whole. I wasn't that impressed, I have to say, with the team up story. It just felt like, here comes Ant. There's this guy giving people powers. I need help. Okay, let's get there was no real tie to either main character.
Right.
It was just felt a little generic. All right, what's that?
A little forced, a little generic.
Yeah, just here's this guy. We have to go fly and get him. All right, we got him.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think there was basically 4 issues in this arc: 2 Dragon, 2 Spawns,
Mm-hmm.
and so you spend 3 of those issues getting the band together, and then you rush to a conclusion in the 4th. And I feel like you could have done better with your time, with your space. Maybe done more with that, with the refugees, at the base of the mountain. What's their deal? I mean, how desperate are they? I mean, are they like the underground freaks in the old days? They're really just people trying to, make their lives better, but they have to resort to theft and stuff to survive.
Well, it's for instance, I think Erik did a much better job on some of his earlier crossovers, like the Superman, the Superman Dragon one, where he had the actual rogue villain gallery from each character is kind of teaming up.
To be fair, that was a whole one shot. He could basically kind of do what he wanted in his own, one issue.
Yeah, I mean, well, it would have been kind of cool to see some of the Dragon villains show up in Spawn and vice versa, or something like that.
I get that.
I'll agree with that.
We haven't seen any Spawn rogues though since Erik took over.
I guess, but he could just kind of make guys come over, whatever. The same guys could have appeared in both comics. It just felt like, and I know what he's doing is keeping them separate because, down the road for collections and stuff. But yeah, I think he did a much better job on properties like when he did the Hellboy Dragon crossover. And again, it was they were kind of ingrained. And Hellboy was just in the Dragon comic, I guess. But
I believe so. I don't think there was any Dragon in Hellboy at all.
No, but I don't know. It felt more, I don't know. It felt like it had more of an impact on the series.
I'll agree with that.
I feel like this will just be a blip. It won't have any lasting impacts unless that Azalea Stone guy comes back.
Maybe I kind of feel like if he does come back, he'll be an Ant villain.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Not a Malcolm villain.
I mean, you think about the Hellboy story, you remember like all the monsters, like the giant mummy coming, all the vampires. Remember the Groks and them climbing out the Groks
Right, that was
ass. They were fighting like Hitler's brain, and Hellboy remembered, and that was tied into like Hellboy's backstory. There's so much to remember about that.
That was actually like a big deal for Brain 8 because that's when he remembered that he was Hitler. And that defined his character going forward from there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, I just feel like this issue, I don't know if there's going to be anything long term that I really will remember out of it.
No,
so that was my take. I wasn't wasn't the best team up storyline, but it's always fun to see Erik draw Spawn, and I prefer actually to see Erik's just penciled in inked version of Spawn. So it was nice to see a couple of issues worth of that.
Yeah. It just, after all this build up of the Spawn stuff, it just kind of feels like it wasn't as spectacular as it could have been, I guess. I mean, it's still good. It still looks great. It's still, classic Savage Dragon, like, craziness, but it's definitely not the peak the series has ever been.
Right.
I'll just echo basically what's already been said, is that to me, it just felt largely as good as it was. I mean, it was all very good. Just overall, like story-wise, it just felt inconsequential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, that's kind of something we've been, crying and whining about a little bit here for a minute anyway, of like all the done-in-ones. They just don't leave you any... things don't build up into each other.
Right.
Just kind of like constantly wrapping stuff up without too much repercussions and stuff. So I agree. Just echoing what you guys said.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like there's a missing story beat here about Stone's, like, what he said. He's preparing for like a bigger danger in the future, and that kind of, that's sort of interesting. And then there's all those followers he has at the base of the mountain who aren't really clear. Their motivations aren't clearly defined. Sneaking through the camp is as easy as saying, "Oh, we're here to see him. Let us through." And they say, "Okay." There's no tension, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
There's a lack of tension. There's no. That's why the actual fight at the end was actually pretty good, because his powers were so interesting, because it felt like he could hold his own against these three badasses.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can manipulate the elements and the matter itself. He's like a Green Lantern level badass, and Spawn stabs him through the chest.
Yeah, that was an anticlimax. Like he kind of came off as a big bad, and he didn't get that big bad send off. He just got, like I said, oh, a rock broke my helmet. Oh, I surrender. And then he got stabbed. It was kind of like...
Wouldn't it have been great if the rock hit his helmet and he suddenly started saying, "Wait, where am I? What's going on?" And then Spawn stabbed him. Like the helmet was the bad guy the whole time.
Could have been, just could have been something. I
had in my notes for the show, Azalea Stone goes down as biggest wuss villain in Savage Dragon history.
Total dud, dude. Got his helmet broken and oh, I quit.
Yeah. Just made giant rock hands out of this cavern.
Take me to jail.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to die. It's like, what? You'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just...
Maybe his helmet was all his power.
I mean,
who knows?
I could believe that. That would... But again, that's not explained or presented to us in any fashion, except through, our guessing.
Yeah. It was just overall... I mean, it's kind of like you get the idea that maybe who knows, the working relationship wasn't the best. Maybe that tainted things a bit.
Maybe.
Oh, with the Spawn,
yeah.
Erik. I get the feeling that a lot of that was like that. I mean, it's funny because Erik doesn't shy away from saying things like that on Facebook. Sometimes I'm like, dude, you really? When I read these things, I'm like, you really want to post that?
But I just lay it out there.
of all these years of, following Erik and talking to him and stuff, the guy just doesn't give a shit whether, for better or worse. Sometimes he speaks his mind. He's the kind of guy that he lays it out there,
He tells it how it is. We should.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome, but I could understand how it could also ruffle some people's feathers.
I tell you what it does help is you don't have to just wonder. Like, kind of like when you see, things fell a little flat compared to like what you thought. It kind of tells the tale instead of you having to be like, gee, golly, I wonder what happened, oh, well, wonder what, and it's like, no, you can pretty much tell. It's like, shit wasn't working out too good. And, working relations were strained, and that's going to produce, strained work. So yeah, that's kind of the thing is like, as this wraps up, it kind of feels like it was put to bed just to like, okay, let's just get this out of the way so I can get back to my thing. Who knows? I think that that's the way it kind of felt to me, like after the fact.
Yeah, this big plan didn't work. So get it done, fulfill my promises, move on.
Yeah, which again, for what it was, I still enjoyed it. But yeah, that was just didn't stick the landing.
I've solicited covers that have Spawn on them. I guess I have to do something with that.
So, shall we talk about the backup, the supplemental material?
Oh, yes, we should probably talk about that.
I really like this Red Hook, dude.
You did?
Yeah, did you not?
I was ambivalent about it. It was fine. I didn't quite get it. I thought there was too much going on, too small of a space. It was kind of hard to tell, like, when things were happening and, like, in what order, because there was a lot of flashback and I don't know.
I tell you what, Dean Haspiel is one of the coolest artists out there. I love his work.
What else has he done?
He did a superhero series for Archie recently. I forget what that name was.
It wasn't the Red Circle comics, was it?
Or maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like was it? I don't know, bunch of public domain characters, I think. Maybe they're Archie's characters.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, it's called Red Circle. Or is that what it was called?
I thought that was the line of superhero comics they did was called the Red.
It's the Fox. If you look up the Fox, he did the Fox for them.
Oh yeah, the Fox looks kind of like Batman a little bit.
Kind of looks like this guy, like the Red Hook, only black costume.
I will say I'm ignorant about him, but this is beautiful stuff.
He's also done a few like one-shot Image comics and stuff like that. He's done a few things here and there. He did a couple of pages on, I think, the Twisted Savage Dragon funnies or whatever too. But his art style is really awesome. I've got a few of his books, so I always enjoy seeing it. But he always has like some of these weirder stories.
Yeah.
And I thought it was okay. Honestly, I think again, Raven, you said this on one of the previous episodes I wasn't on, that kind of just wish the backups were more like Savage Dragon centric backups.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I feel. Like it's okay, but I would rather get 4 pages of like a Savage Dragon character.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I mean, I don't know, what's the deal with this guy, if he's a one shot or if he has a thing or whatever else, but like, it's real. I might have said that, and then in the same breath, when you get something that's like this, like for me, this is a super home run. Like I don't know hardly shit about like Dean Haspiel, so when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like there's just a ton of sequential art stuff going on, and it's so good.
His art is great. So the one thing I couldn't remember, I have a 3-issue miniseries that came out in I think around 05 or 06, maybe later. Mm-hmm. It's called Brawl, and it was half Dean Haspiel and half Michel Fife.
Okay. And
it was a pretty cool thing, but it was just it was like something about superhero beings, but it was like a real kind of weird story, not a straightforward superhero story. It's almost like an alternative comic style.
Mm-hmm. See, now, the thing is, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like, yeah, man, I'm also okay with it, is when you get something like this, it really puts someone on your radar. Like now I want to go like pick up more like of his stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this is, to me, I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. This stuff's great. Yeah, I super love
Oh,
this.
all right. So I just went on his website. The Red Hook is webtoons. It's a web comic, I guess.
Really? All the better.
Enjoy Red Hook season 1 for free at webtoons.com. So
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I do like the Sting girl. She's got like one blast and she's dead.
Yeah. The whole thing kind of, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like Dean Motor, the Mr. X guy, Terminal City. No, not ringing any bells.
No.
All right, never mind.
No, it's fine. Go on.
No, there's nothing really else to say. He's kind of I guess he is kind of an offbeat like style to his art. It's kind of, he goes for like a retro future sort of thing, and I just kind of thought the art was, and even the structure, the sort of like dark humor sort of thing,
Yeah.
was kind of evocative of that sort of thing. That, yeah.
For me, I like the character designs. I mean, I like the dude with the like shooting fists. I like the bee stinger. Or even like, Red Hook here is an interesting visual character. The sequential art is just off the chain, like too good. Like when he's falling down that building, but then the fist like smacks the wall, and there's a little dent in the wall, and just the body language. Even for that first panel where he's climbing up the crypt and then dropping down through the ceiling, and then it leads into that panel there. Just that kind of stuff for like sequential art, just like that. I'm a nerd for that stuff. It's so good.
Yeah.
So I was super down with this just because the coloring was awesome, the art was awesome. I like the weird offbeat character design. For me, this was like 10 out of 10. Like this was a killer backup. Like I know that we've been running our mouths saying we want more Savage Dragon related like content, but as long as it's like super tight like this is, you can have stuff like this. I don't care.
Yeah. He's an amazing artist though. He really is. Like check out that Fox series. It came out, I want to say last year, or maybe the year before.
Absolutely.
But he can really do like a good cross between like a Bruce Timm, Jack Kirby type.
I was getting that. I was getting a real Tim, real animated kind of a thing from it.
But you can also like see his artwork and his sketches. He can actually go like full blown Kirby, and it looks amazing as well.
Man, just good. For me, this was fantastic. I was like, oh yes, this is kick ass. Not to talk bad about, Aquaria or whatever, but we were busting its chops a little bit, and like this is excellent. Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, the guys that did Aquaria just did. Was it Aquaria? Was that the name of it?
Aquaria was the Mer girl from the previous 2 issues.
Yeah, the artist who did that did a recent Image Comics book, and it was like super like Jack Kirby-ish. Like his style changed a little bit on this, but the one, and it was awesome. I bought the series. It was almost like Jack Kirby's The Demon.
Okay.
It was super awesome. Like the artwork was like, holy crap, this guy's like just got the Kirby chops. So I was a little disappointed in the backup, but I'm telling you, the series, I can't remember. I wish I could remember the name.
Well,
Someone's
it was Image
screaming
though,
it.
right?
Yeah.
We'll look for it. I mean, we'll figure it out.
Let me see. Hold on a minute.
So
You guys
Aquaria,
keep talking. I'll look it up.
yeah, Aquaria was done by. Let me get their names here, just for you. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, yeah, it's so funny as I think it's like. Yeah. Aquaria was Adam McGovern and Paulo Landry.
Oh, so it was Night World. So for the listeners out there, look up Night World, and I thought that was so much a cooler visual. It was like a demon-esque Kirby character. It's Image Comics Night World, and when that first came out, in the images I was showing, it looked like Jack Kirby himself drew it. It was amazing.
Nice.
So I was kind of psyched for that backup, but it didn't. I don't know, just didn't pan out the way I thought it would.
Well, to me, this is the bomb. If there's more Red Hook on the way, sweet. I'm down with it. So that's cool. In lieu of more Savage Dragon stuff, if you just bring that grade A, like, awesome backup, yes, I'm down with that.
Right. Yeah, I definitely can enjoy like a backup not related to Savage Dragon, but personally, I don't know. I love having more story of related to the dragon type universe. So whatever, I'll happy either way.
I think, honestly, it's just he's giving these people opportunity. I guess I don't know how he like meets these people, because if he like meets them at like conventions and stuff and sees what they're up to and like offers them a few pages in the back of Savage Dragon to like put something.
Well, Dean Haspiel's an established artist.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true. So I guess it's not really showcasing it for like some new kid. It's like, I don't know. I guess
they're probably friends. It's like, hey, he's probably.
I got to fill 8 pages. What you got?
Oh yeah, the guy does a web comic, so it's the best way to promote your web comic is.
I would say, even though with like somebody being established, like, this guy is clearly a pro. At the same time, there's so many people making comics that, like, even a pro can go under your radar. So it's like I
never heard of him.
I'm super in love with this, and yet for some reason it seems to have escaped me.
Speaking of which,
all this time,
I gotta get you both up on Dean Motor and Mr. X at some point, because what the fuck, guys?
Okay. Is that a webcomic?
No, that's one of the more important independent comics of our generation.
I'm down with that. I like to read the important comics of our generation. You mean like Walking Dead?
What's that?
That little Kentucky homegrown horror comic.
I thought it was cute how everyone was going nuts over the season premiere of that. Like, it was a big damn deal. Like,
well, for them it is.
2 years ago.
For them that is. That was their red wedding.
Yeah. Schausenfrauen.
I guess real quick before we delve off into like random stuff, funnies. I tell you what, Draw Brandon Draw is always good.
Yeah.
That is always funny.
That was.
I don't know how I didn't.
Sometimes they're hit or miss, but that one, the funnies in general, but that one's always decent.
I still think it's about 2 panels too long.
Which panels would you cut out, editor? Editor Purcell.
One panel. Actually, I would cut out panel 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would cut out.
So suddenly we just have fingers going towards a guy's face.
Because that's all you need. Smell my finger. Boom. That's all you need to know. And then I'd say panel 2, panel 4, and the final panel is all you really need.
Smell my fingers. That girl I met at the club last week. She gave me this. Yeah, I guess that works. They're dudes. They're dude bros. It's kind of.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't have any complaints or actually problems with Milo and Ultimate at all. It is simply just family themed, kind of.
It's this guy. He has a comic coming out from Image, right? The guy with the mustache.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Isn't he Ulti-Man or something
like that? That sounds right. I feel like
it's family themed, I believe.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of G-Man, or what was that other one that was like G-Man? I can't recall.
Other one like G-Man.
I feel like there was something else that was like family friendly like that. Like, yeah. I can't.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's very well drawn and everything else. And, it just, for me, mainly, like, you've got, like, this family theme strip above, like, smell my fingers joke. It just it just seems weird there. But it's fine. I mean, I don't have any problems. Sometimes we, like, shit on things. And, like, I feel bad.
I never
sometimes.
shit on anything. I love everything.
Just, that's the thing. So I don't have any problems with it. It's fine. So that's that. That's everything. That's another one in the oven. So shall we talk about the future?
Savage Dragon 217. Done.
It's funny to read this 218 solicitation in any kind of a dramatic voice.
Have at it.
On the next Savage Dragon, self-contained issue. Malcolm and Maxine have a madcap adventure fraught with peril. A day in the life of Savage Dragon.
Hey, can we do a little experiment here?
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim, can I hear your like sitcom voice version of this?
Let me pull back.
That'd be better.
Yeah,
be better
this
for
is more
this.
fitting.
Malcolm and Maxine have a madcap adventure fraught with peril. A day in the life of Savage Dragon.
Self-contained issue.
Slide whistle.
I'm looking forward to it. I think, like you said, Craig, it could possibly be another one of those like awesome year in an issues.
It's definitely going to be a hilarious issue.
Yeah, and I think it opens that window for kind of that time jump feeling.
Yeah, I feel because he's got a big time gap
Mm-hmm.
that he's behind right now. I think this is his way of catching up, especially if he's already told us there's an image of Trump's acceptance speech. We're definitely going to be brought up to current with this issue.
Yeah.
There were like 3 Christmases this year, weren't there? At least 2.
I feel like we haven't seen Malcolm interact with his kids much.
No,
That's true.
Not much.
It's usually everyone else trying to.
Yeah.
He just went and rescued them.
Yeah,
He
I
spent
agree.
more time with his kids.
Well, Jack, Amy, and what's the third one? I'm forgetting.
Tyrone.
My bad. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We didn't even get. Think of all these things we've missed. Craig, what do you think of the babies' names?
I'm fine with it. I don't really. I can't do anything better than that.
All right.
I did think it was weird that he didn't realize that Amy Dragon was She Dragon.
Well,
In terms of Eric's, I'm saying.
right. It was, yeah, I think he did mention that was kind of more of a coincidence than intentional.
Just the thing he liked.
And I do agree with you, Raven. I think it was Raven that said it was that Jack Dragon sounds really cool.
I like that.
Jack Dragon.
Sounds good. Doesn't it just have a good pop? Jack Dragon.
Don't call him John.
And I agree with Jim that Tyrone sounded too like derivative African American sounding.
It just
Like-
seemed obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like Malcolm. Malcolm's a little bit more generic, but it's still kind of, I don't know. Malcolm X, I don't know. Seemed kind of on the nose sometimes.
But you also got Malcolm in the Middle, which an actual physical
And
issue of Savage Dragon appeared on.
really? Oh, that's right.
And the poster. Remember the poster with all the heads?
Well, maybe that's what it was, the poster, not an issue.
I think they were reading it too, though. I think you're right. Was it somebody made the joke? They were like, I was like, how did that happen? And they were like, they agreed to do it as long as Dragon named his firstborn son after. It was like, that works.
They said that now, or
they were
like
they
back
were
in the
making
day?
the joke. They were making the joke that the TV show producers agreed to feature the comic as long as Savage Dragon named his first son after Malcolm.
Because that would have been decades after Malcolm was born.
Yeah.
yeah.
Long after. So Malcolm in the Middle. We're reading it. We're reading those adventures right now.
Pretty sweet.
I'm excited. I think 2017's got some good stuff. We've got one of the covers. Oh, dude, Can I just say we are just dropping the ball on news items?
Are we?
Yes, I just right here at the end of the issue, right here at the end of the FINcast, remembered another news item.
Do we have
Mystery cover.
mystery
What?
cover?
Yeah, there's an issue coming up where there was a false cover solicitation because he wants the cover to be a secret.
Really?
Yes.
Is
what
that the
issue?
Facebook feed? Where did you see that?
Let's take a look. Let's take a glimpse into the future. If you go to it's funny, if you go to savagedragon.com, and you go on previews, I think it's even solicited with a cover that you know is an old. Nope, it's not there. Not yet. Let's take a look at some other place. Hold on here.
18 is the one with Maxine falling. Okay.
So it's got to be like 221
Must
or
be.
something.
Is that just the one of him like jumping forward?
Yeah. It's a. He used the interior.
Savage Dragon 221.
Yeah, and it's got
It's
like.
just that's a sweet cover.
Oh, but isn't that? We've seen this before.
Yeah, because it was the interior. Yeah, 221. He said 221 was solicited with a different cover than what will really actually be published.
I thought that was the cover to when Malcolm took over the book because it's a callback to issue number 1 of Savage Dragon with the color scheme and the Malcolm coming at you. I could have swore that was already a cover.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like that's not going to be the final cover. Like the final cover is going to be a surprise.
Yeah, because we've seen this before.
Yeah. So that's
where though, because it's driving me crazy.
Just in case you're still listening, there's a little news item for you. The 11th hour news item. I am so sorry, dudes. That's like 2 sweet news items that I just totally like slept on until the last second. But yeah, 221 will have when finally it hits print. Apparently, the cover will be a surprise of some kind.
Sweet, I'm down with that.
March 2017.
Yeah, that was the cover to issue 211. I'm not crazy.
So there you go.
Really?
Yeah, that's the cover to 211. It's when Malcolm took. Well, no, it's the issue after the wedding, after the honeymoon.
Yeah, you're right. First issue in a bold new direction.
That's it. So look forward to that.
Yeah, it looks different because the logo's the old logo instead of the Malcolm logo.
Yeah, the old logo's so much better.
You know what's funny is I didn't think it until I saw the old logo back. And then I was like, okay, it's better.
It's a lot better.
It's a lot better.
It's funny because if you look at the Image Comics website for Savage Dragon, 217's got the old logo, 218's got the new one, 219's got the old, and 221's got the old. So I don't know what's going on there. But
It's because he solicited a bunch of those with the old logo. You know what's funny? He said basically he should have reverted to the old logo with issue 211. So this was his opportunity to put out that cover with the logo it should have had.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do, Pig. Even though that's not going to hit print.
Actually, it may hit print because it's probably going to be the cover of the trade paperback. And he's probably going to use the new logo on it. So that's the trade paperback cover in a nutshell.
Never mind. Good call.
Look at this sleuth over here.
I know.
I like to pretend I'm good at deducing.
You're a private dick. I know.
Good at douching.
I don't know. I don't know.
I will say, let me just ask you real quick since we're talking about it. Did you guys, were you into that whole Walking Dead thing with the whole baseball bat thing?
What, the memes with the baseball bats?
No, I mean like any of it at all.
Oh.
Like,
I watched that first. I haven't watched any other episodes, but I watched that episode. So don't spoil any other episodes. But
okay. So you watched the baseball bat episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty gnarly.
I don't know. That was kind of the tipping point in the comic series. It was just before the war, and that just sort of was when I stopped caring, honestly.
And it's so funny. I know I say this every time we talk about this, but that series was so formulaic up to that point.
It did bring a bit of danger back to the series after a period of not, of it being pretty safe.
After that,
But
it gets off of the formula big time.
Big time. That's sort of the impression that I got. And you know what? I did wind up reading the arc after the war, but it wasn't enough to get me back on board. Maybe maybe there'll be a humble bundle and I'll catch up.
Are we gonna piss off any listeners that we might be spoiling? They should know by now, right?
I don't think
2-year-old spoilers for a month-old TV show.
Yeah, what's funny is I think I spoke generically enough that like I don't think there was any spoilers at all, but it's kind of just interesting to me. It's funny, I always like try to rope Savage Dragon fans in any way I can, and everybody's watching that damn show.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, well, if you like that, you should read Savage Dragon. And
if you like Walking Dead, you should read Savage Dragon.
Just any way I can. Any way I can.
People get their heads crushed in Savage Dragon all the time.
That's what I tell them. Oh, you really felt sad for Glenn? Oh, man, you just love Savage Dragon.
What? You're reading Moby Dick? You like Moby Dick? You should try Savage Dragon.
It's a great metaphor for, whale hunting.
Little Woman? Savage Dragon.
I'm actually slightly more curious about how they handled Abraham, because he also died around that same time and apparently also died in that episode.
You know what? I just say that Abraham was such a fucking loser that when he died, I didn't give a shit.
Really? You didn't like Abraham?
I didn't care. And what's funny is somebody's like, wow, he's been around for 50 issues. And I was like, huh, that's fucking crazy that I don't give a shit about this character that's been around for 50 issues.
I kind of like how he died, though.
What about his TV character? Did you like the TV character better?
TV character was better.
Was he
than the comic?
Mostly the same?
Military man? I think he was more fleshed out, right?
More fleshed out, yeah. The TV governor was better than comic governor.
Really?
Which is weird because usually you expect like the comic book a character to be more fleshed out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the total opposite.
The governor got a lot of after the fact fleshing out. He had a book, like a prose book and a one-shot comic came out around the time he was introduced in the show.
Somebody told me a lot of what was in that book was what made it into the show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I ain't reading no prose.
I love it.
But in the comics, the way Abraham died was just that was probably a much more shocking moment because he's literally mid-sentence and an arrow sticking out of his face.
Yeah,
I felt
great.
But they switched it up and that same thing happened to the Doctor.
Oh.
Okay. So that's what's cool about that show.
It was the same exact thing, but they threw the Doctor in the way.
That's what's cool about that show is how it messes with your expectations like that.
It's like an alternate reality,
Mm-hmm.
Because, was it like season 2 or 3 where they went way off the rails, but now they've brought it way back to more towards what the comic continuity was?
I think I stopped reading the comic around issue 60, so I don't know anymore.
Holy cow!
Because I know they killed off a whole bunch of people who lived for a lot longer. In particular, Andrea. In particular.
Yeah.
I'm not sure her current status.
Still in the comics.
Still alive. Okay.
Yep. Still a survivor.
You know who will never die? OC, do not steal Daryl.
Oh yeah. They'll never kill him. That's pretty much. They know when they kill him, that show's over. They could kill Rick before they could kill Daryl. What was hilarious
was I didn't watch the episode, but I did see previews for it as trailers on YouTube, and they were all going, "Is Daryl gonna die?"
Not as long as women find him sexy.
Yeah.
He won't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that would have been a twist to swap him out for Glenn, but yeah, that.
Oh, if they killed Daryl, I'd have shit my pants.
I think there would be a collective pants shitting.
Just it'd be
like AMC would shit their pants as the ratings dip.
Like I said, I haven't watched the show since season 1. Did they ever deal with his brother?
Merle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got iced pretty early.
I think we should wrap up this Walking Dead podcast and
talk, I agree.
Separately.
Well, anyway, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
That's it.
And then some.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, everybody.
Yep.
Craig, welcome back.
Good to have you back.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Missed you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And don't worry if you got
Had
to
a
miss
lot of
more
fun.
episodes. We got plenty of people in the wings.
We missed you. Don't worry. We got other
Easily
people to take your
replaceable.
place.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, you're expendable.
You too, Raven.
I'd like to hear Zach back on there. He's a good host too.
I would like to have him on more often. I think his tossed tones of foreign lands bring a lot to this place.
It's good to hear like kind of someone too that's got a fresh perspective that's just kind of gotten into it. But he took the plunge,
Oh
man.
God, he drank that Kool-Aid deep.
That's good Kool-Aid. That's all.
Yeah. No, so it's really cool to hear somebody that's like kind of fresh into it.
Well, I know that it may not seem like it, listeners out there in listener land, but we do have a new mantra going forward. The show must go on. So if we have at least 2 people willing to record, like we're gonna record. So our whole thing, we had that whole issue 50 fiasco where we got our stomachs in a knot over trying to make it special.
I wouldn't call
And
it
then
less of a fiasco and more of a poorly executed idea.
yeah, well, we just wanted it to be. We wanted it to be special. Our new mantra is just going forward. Just like whoever we can get, we're gonna make it happen. So yeah, expect to hear more of Zach if like I'm busy or if Jim's gone or what. Just basically, we're gonna just get whoever we can to keep the show rolling on. So Zach will be back. One of us will be gone.
You
It's all
there,
good.
child on the street? Do you want to talk about Savage Dragon with me?
Hey, baby.
Sandwich Garden. Okay, I'm hungry. Bring it on.
I actually think we should try to get Eric on the next one.
That's actually
Because I think
now that we're
we've got a lot.
done with the Spawn, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it would be a good wrap up to get his thoughts on the whole shebang.
Yeah, man, I'm down with that. Hey, maybe coming up with issue 218, we'll get a Larsen interview, which is it's so funny anyway because he's always super down.
Yeah.
Like I've been watching his Facebook. He does so many interviews and goes to so many cons. Like he's always super down, and we're always this like, no, we better not.
I think if we did it it's hard to come up with questions too. Like you try to do it every episode and you run out of good questions, or you know what I'm saying? Like
I agree.
If you keep it limited, I think it's more impactful when you actually have them once every 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. That being said, it's time. Let's bring it.
All right.
I'm pretty sure we brought it. I'm pretty sure we're past the bring it part.
Well, thanks a lot, fellas.
Good talking with you. Thanks for
See ya.
listening.
Hasta lasagna.